Here's a universal rule of business. Experts speak in methodologies, but buyers speak in symptoms and frustrations. When you get on a sales call and speak in complex theories, you end up talking past your ideal client. And suddenly, they tell you they can't afford it. You're putting in a massive amount of effort, posting, pitching, showing up, but your bank account isn't reflecting your brilliance. You're experiencing a frustrating effort to income disconnect. And because you aren't seeing the results you expect, the enemy is using his favorite playbook. He's seeding doubt. In the quiet moments, you are starting to ask yourself, is my price too high? Am I just not talented enough? Maybe God didn't call me to this. Stop right there. God did not make a mistake. And you are not charging too much. Your problem is not your calling, and it's not even your expertise. You are suffering from what I call a massive communication disconnect. Because of your corporate heavy conditioning, you've been taught that to prove your expertise, you need to use big words and sound incredibly impressive. As a result, you are overcomplicating your message, and you're caught in something that I call the feature trap, which is getting bogged down in explaining the mechanics and methodologies of your work rather than conveying the ultimate transformation that the client wants. We falsely believe that value is determined by how much money a client makes or what they can afford. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some instances where people literally don't have the money to invest. But there are also many instances where I can't afford it is actually just a scapegoat for them not understanding the value. Because price tolerance is not driven by income. Let me give you the perfect example. You can buy a perfectly good, delicious bottle of water at your local grocery store for like $1. But if you walk into an airport, that exact same bottle of water costs how much? $5. Why? Is it because people in airports suddenly have higher salaries? No. It's because the person in the airport has an active tension. They are thirsty right now. They can't bring liquids through security, and they have an immediate problem that needs to be solved. So they are happily paying a premium for urgency and speed of payoff to a very real tension and pain point that they have right now. Your value is not determined by someone's discretionary income. Your value is determined by your ability to resolve an active tension your client is experiencing right now. If a buyer doesn't clearly see how your service solves their immediate pain, price simply becomes their excuse to say no. As faith-led founders, we often sit in a conflict between charging for our services because we genuinely love helping people versus charging the value of what we know the transformation is worth. But if you are hiding behind confusing academic jargon or underpricing yourself because you're afraid to boldly command your value, you're just like the servant in the parable of the talents who buried his gifts in the dirt. God commanded his creation to be fruitful and multiply, take up space, and build with multiplication in mind. It is time to step out of fear and into swift obedience. Your action step for today is to simplify your message. Stop trying to sell people your process and start speaking directly to the symptom they are frustrated with right now. If you know God has called you to build a business, but you need help translating your deep expertise into a simple message that accelerates your sales, click the link in the description and let's get you operating with unshakable conviction so you can make the impact God assigned you to make.